Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Break Vape podcast, episode 41. I am your host, Tami Ernst. If you or someone you know need help to quit vaping ASAP, go ahead and head over to the Break Vape website and schedule a free strategy session. That's at www.breakvapes.com. That's www.breakvapes.com. Today, we are going to talk about zero nicotine and vitamin vapes because there appears to be a lot of confusion on the topic, and it's important to know the facts. If a person or individual says that zero nicotine vapes are safe and not harmful to your body, chances are they are probably at best just misinformed or not educated around zero nic vapes, or at worst, they are just saying that these vapes are safe so that they can sell you their version of a zero nic product. So I see this all the time in social media groups and with coaching clients. This topic coming up about zero nic vapes and whether they are safe or not. So I wanted to get to the bottom of that today. Vaping overall, even without nicotine, will still physically damage your body and can keep you mentally addicted. These are both incredibly important aspects of zero nic vapes. I could do an entire episode on how battery explosion is one of the physical ways any vape can hurt you, but today I'm going to stick to talking about the chemicals you inhale with any vape. So bear with me as we dig through some of the science here, but it's really interesting just to get down to the facts and to the marketing. Most of you guys might guess that vapes have toxic chemical compounds in them, and you may even know that some of these chemicals are safe and cleared by the FDA for consumption, meaning that we eat and digest them. And while these are safe in appropriate levels for ingestion, they're not safe when they are vaporized and smoked. And I'll get to a specific example in a minute. This is where marketers try to make things sneaky, and you have to be curious enough to dig through pages and pages of Google to find cold, hard facts. Because if you Google, are zero nicotine vapes safe or something along those lines, the first thing that you will see are sponsored ads that have been intentionally placed in front of you to take you to sites that will attempt to falsely explain how their product is safe, and maybe they'll even successfully persuade you into purchasing it. So let's take nicotine out of the scenario altogether. And we'll take a look at vapes that for sure have zero nicotine in them, and they're actually marketed as health and wellness products. There is an array of these vapable products that fall into this category, such as B12, melatonin, chamomile, collagen, vitamin C, and even caffeine, to name a few. These vapes are heavily marketed as being safe to the point where some of them will just bold-faced lie in order to convince you to buy their products. I encourage you guys to do your own research and go beyond data that is given to you by companies that are trying to sell you any kind of vapes, and pay attention to how they word things because, like I was saying earlier, that's where things get tricky. For instance, I went to a site that sells these quote unquote healthy zero nicotine vapes, and on their FAQ, their frequently asked questions page, one of the questions they list and answer is if propylene glycol is safe to inhale. Now, propylene glycol, or PG as we'll call it, for just a short point of reference, is a chemical that is used in food and medicine and lots of other items. And it has been safe by the FDA to use in certain amounts when it is ingested, like we were talking about earlier. And notice that I'm saying ingested, not smoked. So on this site, this company specifically says that propylene glycol is safe to smoke, and then they even provide a link to a page to an FDA document that reports on the safety of propylene glycol. But here's the thing. First of all, this report is from 1982, and second of all, it only talks about propylene glycol as it relates to food. Vaping and smoking this chemical are not brought up at all in this report, yet this data that is provided to potential customers in effort to persuade us that vitamin vapes are safe is readily available right there. But don't fall for their tricks, okay? In fact, if you look up vaping propylene glycol, one of the first things you'll read is that, put simply, it leads to lung inflammation. And if you dig a little deeper, you'll find studies that back this up. Now, you can also look at vapes that do not contain propylene glycol and find sites for those as well. But they will have a similar informational rabbit trail where the fine print finally hits the wall of cold hard facts. One site like this touts how safe their propylene glycol vapes are, that they're free of that chemical. And then at the very bottom of the page, which also on this page, by the way, they are promoting their CBD and their THC vapes, which you guys know are really, really bad for you. So at the bottom of the page, they have this little tiny disclaimer saying that their products contain potentially dangerous chemicals. So physically, the chemical components of zero nic vapes are harmful to your health. Now let's move on to the mental aspect of it. Mentally, these vapes exist to create and serve you up a beautifully packaged addiction on a silver platter, because all of these vapes that I have been talking about are designed to make you feel good, aka release dopamine in your brain. And as you guys know by now, if you've been listening to the show for a while, addiction is created by a dopamine hijacking system that takes place in our lovely human brains. The dopamine hijack is one of the first things I was asked to explain when I started this podcast, and it's all covered for you in episode number 8. So go back and take a listen to that when you're done here. Even if you've heard it before, it's just nice to have an understanding and even a recap from that neutral, non-judgment place when you're considering how vaping shows up in your life. Understanding addiction starts with getting very curious about it and then making your plans to quit from an informed mindset and, very importantly, a zero judgment zone. So there you have it, my friends. Sorry if I stumbled over some of the science, but it would have taken probably 2 hours of an entire episode to go through all of the studies and the reports and all of the data that I found that literally says that smoking zero nicotine vapes and vitamin vapes are physically and mentally harmful for you. So again, some valuable education around zero nicotine vapes is that they are physically harmful and mentally they fuel addiction. So don't be fooled by marketing tactics that are designed to trick you. We are all too valuable and smart for that. I want to give a big shout out to my current clients who are working on this. You guys are amazing. Keep up the great work. And to my future clients, I look forward to helping you soon. Head over to www.breakvapes.com to schedule your free strategy session today, and let's get started. Also, please like and share this podcast to help spread education and strategy around how to quit vaping for good. Stay away from those zero nicotine and vitamin vapes, okay, guys? I will see you next week. Bye for now.